They say water is life on the homestead, and I could not agree more. Not just for our use, but for all of our animals, and even more importantly, perhaps, our gardens and fourth of an acre orchard. In the past, we've hand watered, utilized some sprinkler systems, but mostly we've utilized the most free and labor free way of watering, which is rain. So, what happens when you have the biggest heat wave that's ever hit the Midwest, a month-long drought, and Canadian wildfire smoke that completely blocks out the sun for 2 weeks? That means our orchard was seriously suffering. Our berries started to shrivel up and die. We have lots of yellowing leaves, not only on our berries, but heading into our trees as well. So we have poured our blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of savings into this fourth of an acre orchard, hoping that one day it would boost us into a direction of self sufficiency with massive harvests. But one heat wave and a month long drought, we are threatening to lose it all if we don't act right now. Protecting our investment doesn't require a fortune, just a smarter plan. I'm going to show you how we're building a irrigation system while staying on a shoestring budget. So come along with me and let's talk about it. Over the last handful of weeks, we are supposed to get a lot of rain, and then it just doesn't rain. So we've been putting off this irrigation system in hopes that it would rain. We've been hand watering when needed, and we just realized we need to put this irrigation system in. This is something that was on our list for the year, and then my husband and I kind of said, let's push it off till next year. And it just couldn't happen. The weather came in, and sometimes you just have to do the projects that come up on the homestead, and this is one of them. In total, this project took us about an hour, and it was super simple. My husband went and got this raindrop system from Menards. He said in total, with all of the fittings, all the materials we needed, it came out to less than $300. The reason it took us so long to do this is because we were looking at some really great, like professional grade systems. We were talking about maybe putting them more underground. That way we didn't have tubing and hoses. It would be easier to cut the grass, to maintain, things like that. However, sometimes you just have to do what is best for the season, and that's what this is. At the end of the day, this is working fantastically, and it's going to save our investment here. We have over 30 fruit trees in this fourth of an acre orchard. We also have some hazelnuts, hundreds of berry plants and perennials and herbs and vegetables that we have in these rows. If we don't get something on this, we are going to lose it all. So something at this point was better than nothing. Of course, very naturally, what would happen is the morning after we installed the drip lines, it would thunderstorm, power, and just rain crazily. Having the drip line up now is just going to make it so that moving forward, we don't have to worry about this anymore. And we are going to expand the drip lines because right now we only have them in the rows for the permaculture orchard, and we do want to get them in the rows for the berries because those are the things that really got hit the hardest in the drought. They completely shriveled up, dried. Berries are probably going to be done unless they get, like, I don't even know, a really good second wind. But if that's the case, we enjoyed them for the season. Hopefully come fall we can get another little bit of a bumper crop off them. That would be really great. But if nothing else, we're really grateful for what we got this year, and just excited for next year as well. It seems like the raspberries that are down here on this end, we have sprinklers on those. Those are doing a little bit better, actually a lot bit better than the blackberries and the black raspberries are, but they're on a sprinkler system. The reason, I'm sure I'm going to get questions, why we don't have a sprinkler system on the black raspberries or blackberries is because they're pretty close up against the shop. Shop is pretty new. It's only a couple of years old. We put this up. We don't want to have water spraying on the shop like all of the time because it's going to
make the shop rust and can cause damage to the rust or damage to the shop. Obviously it can get wet, it's out in the elements, all of those things, but my husband doesn't want sprinklers on these like going all the time, so we hand water these when we get big droughts, just because the minerals in our well water is what's gonna not be great for the shop. So we've been hand watering these. They're doing okay. Definitely sadder, but the raspberries down here looks like they're starting to get a little bit of a rebound in them, which is really, really great. And I figured since we're out here, I'll give you guys a little peek of the garden. We also have a sprinkler that we put down here. So for down here, we have T-posts kind of all over down here. And Tractor Supply sells these sprinkler heads that you just pop right on top of the T-posts, and then you attach your hose to it and it acts like a sprinkler, and then you just have to move the top of the sprinkler head from T-post to T-post, and we move those everywhere. So we have T-posts all throughout the orchard, and we can just move that sprinkler head to water whatever needs to be watered, and it works really, really great. They're pretty cheap too. The sprinkler heads I think are like 20 bucks. They might even be less than that. But I came out here a couple hours ago and I pulled all of my lettuce out because during the heat and the drought it completely bolted, which is fine. I have it in a pile right here. I'm just gonna give it to the chickens and ducks. They'll enjoy it, but I'll just give you a really quick overview on what this is looking like down here. Last fall, we put the duck pond right here and we drained it out a ton after garden season so that the fertilized duck water watered this area because we knew the garden was going to be here. However, because the pond was here, this area didn't get any fertilizer, so plants on this end don't look nearly as great as the plants on that end. But some of my cukes, these ones just look sad. I never have had really great cucumber plants. They just don't grow great for me. However, we'll talk about the difference to the plants because I have some more cucumbers on that end and they're the best cucumbers I've ever grown. Tomatoes are just starting to come in, which is kind of fun. I think these ones were all of like my slicers, like my big ones, some of those fun tomatoes that we grew. And then once we head down here, we have some Amish pastes that are really starting to come in, which is exciting. We've got some good clusters. I think these ones, some of these are Midnight Romas, regular paste tomatoes, Midnight pastes, I think. And then once we get down here, I think these ones are all of my Homestead tomatoes, and I've tried growing these a couple years in a row. They don't look that, like, I don't know, they're just not putting on. They don't have a lot of flowers. They're they have a couple tomatoes, but they don't look as great as the ones, like my paste ones down there, which is kind of sad because these ones are supposed to be really great. But I don't know, they could really pick up. I also have been so lazy when it comes to the garden this year. I really haven't done much maintenance down here at all. I think total this year I maybe have, like, after we initially put the garden in, maybe like 2 or 3 hours of actual garden work, specifically in the vegetable garden this whole summer. I've done really nothing. I've fertilized it a handful of times. I've weeded it like twice, I think, with the weed paper. It's been so great. Game changer. Love it. But it's just really hands off. Like, there's not really a lot for me to do because I have the weed paper and stuff. So once it gets to this point, it kind of just is what it is. I could trellis my tomatoes. I could do a couple other things, but I don't know. I'm just embracing my lazy gardener like season, and that's where I'm at. But these tomatoes are looking really good. These cherry tomatoes going to come in like crazy, but these are fun. These are like a purpley blue cherry tomato, and they're teardropped. But they're fun. They're really starting to kind of come in. But the plants themselves look kind of sad. The only peppers I grew this year were, I think these are regular jalapenos. We picked a couple. I did a batch of refrigerator pickles recently, sweet and spicy. And we used a couple of jalapenos for that. This one's just getting eaten by this marigold. But I'm loving having the marigolds. The one thing I do wish, though, every marigold I have is either orange or red. I didn't get any yellow ones, and I kind of regret that because, I mean, they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I wish I had more variety of color. So I think next year I'm going to try to get different colored marigolds, and I want to mix in different flowers too. I think next year just for fun because I'm really enjoying them. Now you can see this batch of cucumbers is doing a lot better than the one on the other end. My husband and I were trying to figure out, really the only difference is that the duck water drained and it came downhill because this is kind of sloped a little bit. So that's really the only difference, but these look great. We've been picking cucumbers, doing a couple batches of refrigerator pickles, which have been fun, and the kids have been eating these fresh because these are slicers. So I don't know, we've enjoyed it. Cauliflowers are starting to look pretty good. They've got quite a bit of bug damage on them, but you can see the leaves were yellowing and stuff. They were really stressed out, but we have little cauliflower heads coming in here, which is fun. The heads themselves look pretty good. Some of them are further along than others, but I would say in the next couple weeks, we're gonna have some fresh cauliflower, which should be really fun. Cabbages are looking pretty great. I would say that the purple cabbage we're gonna use for mostly, like, it's a corn salsa. It calls for cabbage, and I like to use purple cabbage in it because it looks really beautiful in the jar. The yellow corn with the purple cabbage. It's just really, really pretty. So that's what most of this is for. The rest of it we'll eat fresh, like shaved in salads and things, and then the rest of this will go to the chickens and the ducks if they want it. Green cabbage is for cabbage roll soup. I didn't have to grow that much this year. I just didn't need that much in my preservation methods. So these are starting to ball up pretty nicely. You can see some bug damage, but that's okay. But some little ones, they're looking quite cute. We'll use these fresh as well, especially heading into fall, but they're looking really great. So I'm thinking that probably sometime in August, maybe early September, we'll be canning. I would love to do like 2 canner loads of cabbage roll soup. I think that would be really great. Maybe some like cabbage and ham, potatoes, onion, carrot soup, something like that. If you happen to have a really great, like, I don't know, like kind of like that cabbage, ham, potato, we would call that boiled dinner. But if you have like a canning safe boiled dinner recipe, please leave it for me in the description box or link it, whatever. I would love to have that because I'm really looking to can some really good like meals in a jar coming this fall. I'm looking for some new recipes and I'm excited to try that. But the drip line's looking really great. It's been working really well. Now that I got that hose reattached, I'm going to turn that on. We're going to let the drip line drip tonight and hopefully bring everybody back up to speed here. But we're not going to get any apples this year. We got a late frost and it killed all the buds on the apples, so we're not getting any of those, but we do have some pears coming in that are looking really great. So we'll get maybe a couple pears to eat. We have a couple pear trees, so we'll get enough for the kids to eat fresh for a little bit. But we also have peaches coming in, which is really exciting because we live right on the cusp of where peaches won't grow because it's too cold. So it's so exciting. Every time we get peaches, it's like a feat because they're just so great. So we have actually quite a few coming in on the tree this year, which is really exciting. I actually have one growing all the way down here. It's just so fun. It's fuzzy. So cute. So fun. I was gonna say so cute, but I mean it is. But we have a couple really fun clusters in here of peaches. So once again, we have a couple peach trees. They're looking pretty great though. They're getting to be a pretty decent size, which is fun. A couple years ago, but I think it was last year, we got a couple peaches and they weren't much bigger than that when they were ripe, just because the trees are so young. I'm trying to find out where our other peach tree is, because I know that one had peaches on it too. I thought it was up here. Am I crazy? Where is our other peach tree? But that's pretty exciting. So we have a couple trees with peaches on them, a couple trees with pears on them, but cherries are done for the season. We only had a couple of those. The kids basically picked those off and ate them fresh the second they were ready. And like I said, no apples this year just because of that late frost. It killed all the buds. So I don't think we're gonna get any of those this year, but trees are starting to look a little bit happier. Some of them are still definitely stressed out, so let's go turn the water on. get everybody watered. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this week, getting the drip line irrigation in, doing a little bit of update on the garden, update on the orchard, and just seeing how we kind of fight against Mother Nature when we have to. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I hope wherever you guys are, you're having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in another one.